At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Midweek Tease with me, Adelle Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, let's talk about this community thing, right? I think this is something that we all crave. And honestly, I feel like it's at our core as humans and our human journey to just crave community. But I don't want us to talk about the type of community that we've been socialized to believe is the only community we can ever have, the one that we're taught to idolize, the big gatherings where in a very performative sense, it feels like you have all of these people around you and so much community, but you really aren't seen. And you're in this space surrounded by so many people, but you feel quite lonely. I'm not talking about the relationships that you hold on to just because of bloodlines or that you're relatives. No, I want to talk about chosen family, the kind of community that sees you, that holds you, that challenges you, that uplifts you, and that just happens to not come from the same bloodline as you. I really learned that healing, growth, and even joy, all of these thrive better when we have a support system. I don't think we're meant to do life alone. Yet, unfortunately, in present day, many of us do, silently and very painfully. Because of that, we find ourselves staying in communities that don't support our becoming, simply because that's what we've always known. But here's the truth. The community you choose matters more than the one you were born into. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is, because also you're living a big life. You're going to experience so many things, and during those experiences, meet people who may share a worldview with you that maybe your family don't, or who may be so aligned with you in a way that is just magical. So why not build up on that and be each other's community and support system? But even as I talk about this, building real community is hard. Oh my God. Building authentic community is so hard. In fact, I feel so blessed when I think about my chosen family, because it's only now that I'm being intentional about it. They stumbled into my life through challenges I was navigating, and I'm just like, hey, thank heavens. And some of the things that make building authentic community hard is we're often learning how to trust again, how to let people in. That's a hard thing. It's something I struggle with to date. Sometimes it takes me years to let people in. And sometimes we've been hurt so much that we equate isolation with safety. Right? Am I talking to you? Can you relate? Plus, in present day, so many of us are busy and we're tired and we're overwhelmed that we don't even know how to find the energy to connect, to build support systems. You know what I mean? So let's start with, how do you know that you're in the wrong community, right? I've pulled up 4 things that I think can be signals to you. The first is you feel drained after interactions. Like you interact with people and on your journey home, you're just like not energized. You don't feel alive. You just feel like, huh? Oh my God. Have you watched that meme? Who is it? I think it's a reality star who's just collapsing on a bed and going like, today drained me. That feeling, that's number one sign. The other one is when you find yourself while you're in that community, afraid to share your wins or afraid to share your pain. For a long time, I used to be in communities where I was afraid to share my wins because I felt like I would be judged, and I felt like I had to remain the version of me that that community knew and not elevate and not grow. And if I showed signs of growing, that would be received as a threat to the community. Does that make sense? I also felt like I was, and this was not only the community, this was also on my part as well. I was so scared of vulnerability that I never shared my pain. So it was me and my fear of vulnerability, but also there are questions as to, was the community safe enough for me to be vulnerable? You know what I mean? Those two things can be true at the same time. The third thing that will show you that you're in the wrong community is when you feel misunderstood or judged. I truly believe in validating our feelings. So often we're taught to betray our emotions. When they arrive, the immediate thing is not even to allow yourself to feel the emotion, is to chuck it out. So you don't even interrogate it. And I think in allowing yourself to feel, you'll be able to know whether you misunderstood something. But in a space, if you constantly feel misunderstood or judged, trust the emotions that are arriving. There is something they are trying to communicate to you there. And chances are it's that community is not a safe space for you. The fourth and the final point is if you feel unsupported in your dreams or in your healing journey. You talk about them, you don't feel like people are either holding you accountable or cheering you on. Those are signs that you are in the wrong community. They may not be your community, they may actually be your cage. So then, how do you build a community that feeds you? And I want to share 5 things that are helping me on this journey. The first one is to start with values. Start by really asking yourself, who are you becoming, right? Once you have that figured out, then ask yourself, what kind of people support that version of you? And for me, I've had to really think about some of the qualities that feed into a worldview that is important to me. So it looks like things like kindness. It looks like I don't like being around judgmental people. I like people who are open-minded. I like people who are so rooted in their truth that somebody else's truth, no matter how different it is from theirs, doesn't rattle them. You know, I like critical thinkers because that is who I am becoming. I am questioning why. I am building my own truth in this world. So I want to be around people who are critical thinkers, who don't just go with the flow. I want to be around people who are self-aware because that's who I am becoming. A huge part of me protecting the version of me I'm becoming is ensuring the people I surround myself with are not a threat to that person. Okay? Number 2, initiate with intention. Sometimes we're waiting to be invited in, but you can create the space. Let me tell you, I learned that last year and I was more intentional this year. So there are women who are in my life that are in my life because of work, or in my life because we're friends from childhood, or in my life because we work together for various reasons. And I've identified that they're the kind of people who support the version of me that I'm becoming, that they're the kind of people who I want to be part of my support system, who I want to be part of my community. So what did I do? I started hosting lunches with these women in my home. And let me tell you, we had one earlier this year in January. It was incredible. And all the women left saying, wow, can you please do this again? And note, very few of these women knew each other before because they're from various parts of my life. But intentionally, I was like, I'm not going to wait to be invited in. Okay, I am going to create that community for myself. And what happened afterwards, when some of them would have gigs, they would say, by the way, please invite those women from the lunch we had at your house. Initiate with intention. Number 3, Let go of forever. It is okay for your community to change because guess what? You are changing. You are evolving, right? The kind of person you are becoming is changing. So the kind of people who will support that version of you may change, and it is okay. Sometimes people come into your life for seasons, and that is okay. Let go of forever. Number 4, be the support you're looking for. I saw a video on TikTok. I didn't agree with the language used, but I understand the concept. They were saying that for you to maintain friendship in this day and age, you need to know that there is a level of inconvenience you need to be okay with. I don't think the word is inconvenient, right? Because if you look at when you are supporting yourself, you don't approach that relationship with self as saying, this is an inconvenience. You know what I mean? You just show up for yourself. You show up for yourself in the way you talk to yourself, in the routines you're trying to build, in the food you're trying to give yourself, in the love you show yourself, in the joy you intentionally bring into yourself. You don't look at that as inconvenient. When it comes to showing up for your community, because it is a two-way street, I don't think of it as an inconvenience. I actually think of it as an honor. I was telling my person recently that because they have honored me by showing their true self to me, I then honor that by showing up in the moments where I know they need me. And I know they need me because they honored me by telling me who they truly are or by being vulnerable with me. Does that make sense? So I show up for others, not only in the way I want to be held, but in the way I know they want to be held. And I have this knowledge because they honored me with it. Be the support you're looking for. Show up for your support systems. And then the last thing is to check your energy. A nourishing community feels safe, inspiring, and easeful. Always check how you feel after hanging out with this community or support system you're building. Check in with yourself. Check your energy. Check what energy you're even bringing to that community. And I hope those 5 points really help you, because we have to have a new definition of community. It isn't what we have been socialized to believe. It's not always family. It could be. It may not be. It's not always loud. It doesn't require 100 people. It could be 2 people and it's wonderful. Sometimes it's just 2 people and a group chat that makes you feel seen. So this week, I invite you to ask yourself, who is in your corner? Who do you release with love so you can create space for better? And if you're still building your community, that is okay. There is no rush. Just don't stop choosing you. If you resonated with this week's Midweek Tease, share it with someone else in your community who you think needs to hear this. Thanks for listening to the Midweek Tease, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.